Hello, I'm CyberAxe with Outlandishly Crafted, and my real name is Jeremy Benisek, and I have run an IT company for 20 plus years. I'm a game developer. I'm top rated at Microsoft as one of the top 5% contributors in the world. I've been awarded the Beta Tester of the Month by Microsoft, as well as many other things at Google and lots of other places. And I am a technology expert, you would say. And I am coming to you today to talk to you, hopefully, parents of students and children and teens that would like to do Minecraft development or game development or indie learning, indie development, and you have concerns or questions or not quite sure what to think of it. And either that student or child or teen or whatever, I'll just call them students from here on out, came to you and said, Mom, I really want to do this, or Dad, I really want to do this, and I need more YouTube time, or I need more X, or I need to be able to get on Discord, or I need to be able to access something. And this comes up from time to time that someone that's trying to self-learn, they're trying to better themselves, they're trying to learn how to do something. The reasoning might be because they want to play a video game. That could be. That's a great motive for kids and adults to learn something new and to expand themselves. We rarely do anything without motive, and it's really important that we have those opportunities. And so, one of the things I wanted to address is uh, limiting access to things like YouTube flat out. So, we'll hear from time that I can't go watch a guide. We have thousands of people. The Discord channel that I help support in, which is probably where your student found me or found me on YouTube. Uh, there's 30,000 people from around the world, and they're helping each other and getting help and showing their creativity and showing what they've learned and what they've made, and and doing those things. And there's a community there in Discord. And and so someone will show up and they'll say, I want to learn how to do this. And we'll say, oh, we've got a great video, a guide already ready for you. It's on YouTube. And they'll say, oh, I can't use YouTube. Or I am blocked from YouTube. Or I don't have enough time. Or I'm limited to only an hour a day or 30 minutes a day on YouTube. And I'm a parent. I have a 25-year-old daughter who is pregnant, and I have a grandbaby on the way. I went through public school with them. I personally went through private school. I understand the struggles today with digital devices and all of those things. However, it's really critical that you, as the parent, understand that there's entertainment time and there's self education and self bettering time. And if you lump all of that together just because they're saying, I want to do something Minecrafty or I want to learn something, then all of a sudden you're just putting them in a box. And sorry, my cat got stuck underneath the blanket. You're putting them in a box and limiting all of that together. And it's very easy as a parent to see they just want to play Minecraft. They just want to play video games. Video games are so bad. And I know that the media is brainwashing you with that information, but the science and the studies um, prove that that's not true. By the time a student gets to 10 years old, they have the same intelligence as everybody else. That's pretty standardized. But a student that uses games and self-learning has a quite a bit higher intelligent level by the time they get to 12. So when they take students that have access to self-learning game environments, being able to get on and do those creative things, their intelligence actually goes up quite a bit. And this is already leveled for the parents' education level, the surrounding and the areas of what they have. So it doesn't matter if in that in that study if the parents made in a large amount more money or a large less money or had higher education or less education. Students that had access to games did better. And so that's not really the main point of this. The main point of this is that there's education time and there's game time. And if you're limiting all of the child's experience based on just your interpretation of what a game is, you're sorely, kneecapping your child going forward, because what they aren't learning in public school is how to self-learn. Public schools are just baby feeding them the information to give them a grade and get them through. And I literally work with your kids every day, way more than your teachers do, because the teachers may see them every day, but they're not actually one-on-one interacting and doing teaching. They're typically reading from an SOP or a book or a guide, and they're just propagandists pushing that data into your kid's brain. Your child isn't actually engaged and learning how to learn. And so when they're coming into Discord, they're voluntarily taking their free time to learn something because they want to better themselves or they want to do something. Maybe it's just a show off to their friends. That's great. Um, those are the things you should be encouraging and helping and getting them more access to, not less. And I'll give you experience, just me growing up. I'm in my 40s. I grew up before the internet was a thing. When I was in elementary school, I was very into computers. I was more interested in technology and being able to do those things and self-learn than I was interested in recess. And because of that, the teachers flat out let me know that I would be a loser and that I wouldn't be able to get a job and I wouldn't be able to take care of myself, because that was not something that was a quality thing. And you can see now how things are, 30 years later, that they were entirely wrong. And the my friends and the people that I know that I went through school with that did go out to recess, that did value those things more, that did value not self learning, are in really bad abusive jobs right now and don't have a lot of options. They have no technical skills, they have no technical abilities, they never learned how to self learn. So as adults, they don't have the ability to get themselves out of the hole they've dug. And it's too late for them now at 40 to really be able to start over and do something different. And so they're stuck where they're at for the rest of their lives. And that's really sad to see, because the school did that to them. The school system kneecapped them and hamstringed them and didn't allow them to self-learn and to move forward, and in fact encouraged them not to in a lot of situations. And that became a, a burden to them because they weren't able to go out and go to YouTube and just learn something. And so I think it's really critical that you separate that time. It's totally understandable that you want to limit how much someone plays a video game, but you have to understand that that's the incentive that they're using to motivate themselves, your student, to learn and do these things. And they may not understand that at this point, but it doesn't really matter. The key is that they're trying to gather knowledge and information and do more. And and that's one of the more powerful things you have as a parent, is being able to identify that and then steer that into productive places, not shut it down and put a lock on it and say, well, you don't get any more YouTube today, you get 1 hour a day. Well, that means they could watch 1 to 2 guides a day. And and if you're trying to learn an advanced concept, you need to look at 10 or 20 different guides. You need to gather information from all over the place. You might need to watch the guide 100 times over and over and pause it and stop it and rewind it and go back, because you're coding stuff. You're actually making things. You're being creative. And so I would encourage you to not just lump all of it into one thing, and instead really take a step back and think, man, this could be the job for my child going forward. This could be what gets them through college and high school. This is what could pay for your retirement and your long-term care, medical care, because they have a job in the game development industry, or they're making the next Windows, or they're doing software, they're doing cryptocurrencies, or they're doing high-end IT or banking. All of those things are because of the gaming industry and because they want to get in and connect their friends together and be able to host a server. They want to be able to do those things, and that excitement is what you want to take and run with, and empower them to learn, not snuff it out and yell at them and scream at them because they just want to play games all the time and blah blah blah, because that's what you were told when you were a kid, because that's wrong. Those people that played Nintendo aren't losers. Those people that played video games aren't losers. They're Elon Musk. They're Bill Gates. They're the people that run everything in your life. And if you're still stuck in a box and you're putting your kid in that same box that you came from, I really encourage you to kind of step out of that and take a new look forward at what the real evidence and the facts and the studies are to show those things. And Minecraft is one of those great environments for your kid. A lot of times it's free. It's something that they can get in. Maybe it's $30 to buy the game, but it's the best return you'll ever have because they can spend tens of thousands of hours being creative, constructing, building, interacting, building relationships, and learning how to self-learn. Minecraft has very few guides and tutorials of how to just do stuff. It's an open, creative world to allow people to get in and learn how to learn. And there's even educational additions that they're using in the school districts to try to encourage kids, because the schools themselves know they're losing the battle, they're failing. They only 10% of schools in Denver County teach IT, even typing. They don't have any IT classes. Yet you think your student gets enough going through public school. They don't. If you want them to be empowered and you want them to be smart and you want them to have what they need to go forward, let them self-learn and learn how to self-learn. Encourage them. Get in there and play with them. Ask them what they're making. Give them feedback and ideas on stuff that might be cool to add in. Enjoy with them. Play with them. That's where you're going to make those connections, and that's where you're going to be able to have that long-term connection, because you have a common place with them. And it's one of those things where now that our friends in our group have grown up and they've gotten older and we're out of school and we're all doing different things, we've also moved around the world. And so without the sorry, my mic's all fidgety. Without having video games and a way for every week for us to get together virtually as a group with a common place and a thing to do, we would have all splintered and we wouldn't be keeping up with each other and keeping track of each other and talking about each other's days and how things are going. I think that it's easy in this day and age to think that your kid has connections and has friends and has those things, but people move away and things change so rapidly, and the school systems are changing so rapidly, and the environment's changing so rapidly, and the stress is so high, and we're not teaching kids how to actually have relationships and communicate and socialize, that they're not getting a lot of those things. And if they do, that's not for very long. And the game is the virtual environment that allows them to keep connected with their friends wherever they go, and to keep those relationships healthy. And if you're blocking that and saying, well, you can only play for 30 minutes a day, and it's not the 30-minute time frame that their friend can play, you're really isolating them into a box. And I think it's hard as a parent to see that isolation, because when you grew up, it was a different world. But it's not the same world it was when you were a kid, and you have to let that go. You have to live in today. You can't live in the 60s. You can't live in the 80s, because it's not then. This isn't the days of dial up and AOL, of even that. You're not sending letters to each other. You're not going out and playing in the park like you used to, mainly because you as a parent don't think it's safe enough, even though there's never been a safer time to do it. So if you're concerned that Minecraft, online game environment that they can just turn off at any moment, isn't safe enough for your kid, I would really ask you to wake up, because you're really holding your child back over your fear. When I was a kid, it was you can't go to the mall. Can't go to the mall because my mom feared what would happen at the mall. Only troublemakers hang out at the mall. Is that realistic? Did that turn out to be a true fact? No, because you hung out at the mall. Your friends hung out at the mall. Are you a loser? So let's go back and try to break down some of those walls and reevaluate why you're putting some of these restrictions and blocks on. If your child has an addictive personality, then use that. And if they're a boy, you need to understand that the greatest engineers, the greatest people in the world have addictive personalities. They're the smartest people. They have to focus on a very small linear window to be experts in their environment. That comes at a cost. And if your main focus is to have a well-rounded child, that's great. But that may not be the genetics and what God or whatever you believe created your child was meant to be. And you might want to take a step back and reevaluate if you're trying to put a box because of your fear on them. As a person that's experienced it from a child and a parent, from abusive teachers that were wrong, that were in no way being graceful or Christ-like, that told children that they would be losers because of their activities, I would highly suggest and request that you do some research and you look into what's actually happening and look at the opportunities and look what's out there and get more involved. Because if you think government propaganda factories are a safer place to have your kid learn than Minecraft or YouTube or online Discord, you really need to spend a few minutes in a public school, because you are mistaken. The most dangerous place for your child is public school system and the government propaganda factories. The best place for your child is to be able to self-learn and filter out the information they see and hear on their own and keep themselves healthy. And when they don't know what to do, to come to you for help and ask you for advice, not the public school system or just not saying anything and hiding it. So I'd really encourage you to check out those things and look at what's out there and look at what they're doing. Really quick, let's look at what Discord is. Discord's so frightening. Oh, what are your kids doing after you hear all of the horrors of Reddit and Discord is just a place. We used to have forums where you'd go to a website and you type in a question and then it would take a week for someone to get back to you. Now it's just a chat room. So you go to a server like this. It's called Blockbench. Blockbench is just a modeling program where you model things like this guy. So they could get in and they could make a sword, or they could make a ghost, or they could make Jesus. They could do whatever they want for the story that they want to tell in their game and in their environment. So they come in here and they just ask a question. How do I do this? How do I? And we've provided a whole bunch of guides and videos that they go on YouTube, just like you are right now, just like you're self-learning right now. Do you feel right now that you're at some mortal risk, that this environment isn't safe, that the information that you're getting is so risky and so dangerous that you shouldn't be able to access YouTube, or you shouldn't be able to do game development, or you shouldn't be able to do Discord? Think about that, because that's what we hear from a lot of parents, that Discord is so dangerous to be able to come in here and ask a question and get a response in a moderated environment that is, I mean, more protected than anything else they're seeing or on, way more protected than what they hear or read or see at a public school. Um, that this isn't a good place to be. And I'd really challenge you that I believe that you're wrong and that that's a misconception of because of your fear and what the media has installed on you. And at this point you can see that the media doesn't know what they're talking about. Just like if you go back to the media talking about the internet and in the 90s and 80s and how they didn't know what they're talking about then, they're still stuck in those places. And so this is simply it. These are just different channels for different software programs. They can come in here and show off what they've made. These are all made by students like you. Most of these are made by people under 20, and a lot of them are making money doing this. So let me give you an example. During COVID, I had a artist, a really great artist, that just turned 18, so we could pay him, so he could do his taxes and all of his stuff. And during COVID, his parents were laid off, and he didn't have food on the table. They live in India. We work with people all over the world, and he was able to work in Minecraft and make stuff in Minecraft for Dragonfire for this game that you can go buy and your kids can play on Marketplace and feed his family during COVID at 18 because of Minecraft and his desire to self learn and because of video games. His family ate dinner day after day because of video games. I want you to really think about how you've treated your child, how you've talked about video games, how you've talked about tech industries, how you talk about development, how you talk about the entertainment industry. And then stop and think about how many people were unemployed adults with college educations, with university, with master's degrees, when their children could go out and make money when they couldn't. And yet we hear often that this is abusive and bad and all of these horrors, yet you never hear about all of these wonderful things and all of these things happening. But most of the games that are out today that are making $500 million more than your company's making, more than the entertainment industry and movies, and oh, you wanted to be a singer or a star, games are making way more than those are. And yet you still hear that those aren't the places to be, that those are bad things, but they've are the places that have the best jobs. You work from home, you can work from anywhere. I could work up in a forest. The people that are running those companies and making those games were modders in the 80s and the 90s. Those were people like me that were playing video games and wanted to do more with them and wanted to modify them and make them better and wanted to add stuff to them. And because of that, they have these great jobs now where they're shaping the future. Those are the people that were successful. It wasn't the people playing football. It wasn't the people doing recess and had a focus on pleasure. It was the people that were self-learning and excited for what could be and what they could create, the creators of the world. So if your student has a desire to be a creator, not a consumer, like I bet you are, that's a gift. That's something that you should empower and take and encourage and push forward and give them more YouTube time for that. Give them more game time for that. Give them more interaction. Get involved with them and buy them a better computer. Get them the devices that they need to do it. So many of these students are using their cell phone to make this content. Get them a computer. They're not expensive. It will change their life. I'm not kidding when I'm telling you, you're investing in your retirement by investing in your kids now. That $500 computer now could end up being $1 million home later when they've sold their first game for $100 million and they buy you a house. That's not far-fetched. Those are things that happen because you empowered them. Or you could lock it all down and you could have them be just like the sheep at the public school system, which I bet is probably what happened to you, which is why you're listening to this video. So I'd encourage you to make a change. I hope that this has helped give you an idea of the of what's really going on behind the scenes, um, and maybe open your eyes up to some of the amazingness and empowerment from a parent like you. I have the same fears of how is my kid going to turn out and too much game time, but I can tell you, going through the public school system and having the nightmares that online education and private school and anything other than public schools is a much better way for your child to learn if they can. If they can self learn and you can get them out of those environments and you can put them in front of a computer and you can say, learn in this online school program, that is a much better place for your kid to be in 2022 than stuck with the sheep and the mules in the field. Um, I hope this has been helpful. If you have any questions, please hit me up. You can email me. You can call me if you want. My phone number is on my website, outlandishlycrafted.com. Again, my name's Cyberax. Jeremy Benisek is my legal name, but I go by Cyberax. If you have any other questions or would like to ask, or you're curious about all of these different things and you're just not sure, I'm totally available to help with any of that stuff. You can always hit me up on Discord as well. I spend most of my time here helping people with all of these type of questions. Like I said, there's 30,000 people just in this one server, and so we've created just all of these guides after guides after guides for how to, hey, you want to make some butterflies, you want to make a hummingbird, you want to make some NPCs that blink and feel real, you want to have a fish tank, you want to do, I mean, it just goes on and on of just fun things. You want to add a monkey to the game. You want to do some animations. These are all skills and abilities that they're learning that are great for them to learn through a video that costs you nothing. So, let me know if there's anything else I can help you with. If you have questions, you can always put them in the comments underneath the thing. If you'd like to help support me and my cause, you can always help support me on Patreon. If you'd like to check out my games, you can definitely jump over and check out Dragonfire and Bedrock Edition. This is in Minecraft, and I'm also working on a game on Unreal 5. So thank you for watching. You rock. Hope this has been educational and helped you learn a little bit more. And peace be with you.